Hi and hello. My name is Harkheindzel Kenny Omiyale. I'm a development and empowerment strategist, and I'm also the spirit mentalist. All right, and today on I Mentor with Harkheindzel Kenny Omiyale, we'll be talking about communication hacks, and these will be touching areas of psychology, areas of persuasion, and areas of hypnosis. Okay, I decided to come up with this to talk about this topic really because I came to realize that in the world that we are today, we really have an elusive sense of freedom. Okay, and that's because of these three things: psychology, persuasion, and hypnosis. Okay, and I just believe that this is going to help someone out there to be able to reset themselves and get to understand and be in charge really of their lives. There are many people out there, well, a few people who understand where all of these hacks come from, and they're trying to seek out ways to cut themselves out of the matrix. Okay, I believe today's session is going to afford you with such opportunities to, of course, make that decision on your own and see if it's best fit for you as well. Okay, so we're going to go diving right into today's session of communication hacks, psychology, persuasion, and hypnosis. Now, fundamentally, I need to make you understand certain things, and the first thing is that communication is key to life itself and relationships. There is no way we can really experience life as it is without communication. Even you communicate with yourself. Communication doesn't necessarily have to do with two bodies. You communicate with yourself. There's a way your brain communicates with your mind, communicate with your muscles and synapses and all of those nerves, and all of those things. So the communication is one of the fulcrums of life and existence and relationship, as it were. So communication is very important. To go right in there. However, for communication, when it comes to voice, basically there are three levels of communication, okay, which I'll be highlighting. I would also want to emphasize that this is a knowledge sharing session. So what that means is that I'm not going to go very, very deep into it, but I would be able to, with the little I can offer you, I'll give you so much, and yet so little that you'll be able to understand, and be inspired to make decisions on yourself. So are you ready? Alrighty. There are three levels of communication. We've got the physical level, we've got the mental level, and we've got the spiritual level. Okay. For the physical level, we have three basic components thereof. The texts, we have words, and we have sounds. Okay, they're basically the things that kind of tangible in the sense that we can hear them. Okay, we can see them. They are of a lower frequency. So for the mental level, we've got sounds, we've got emotions, and we've got intuition. Okay, and for the spiritual level, we've got intuition and revelation. I need you to understand that there's a certain pattern in all of this. You realize that you'd always find a transition element between each level. So for the physical level, the highest form of physical communication is sound, whereas sound is the lowest form of mental communication. The highest form of mental communication is intuition, whereas the lowest form of spiritual communication is intuition. Okay, so all of this helps you to transit from one level to another. These things are very important because they would help you they'll help you understand communication and better position yourself for the communication hacks. So what it means basically is that the moment you start seeing text, words, basically text and word, that you're still in the physical level of communication. The moment you start hearing sounds, it means you're going into the mental level of communication. So the moment you start having sounds and emotions involved, the communication is highly mental. And when you have intuition, that you're bridging into the gap of the spiritual. So this will help you understand, okay, when you're trying to deprogram hacks of communication. All right, moving on. Communication in our day and our time has become very difficult. Okay, and that's because communication has been watered down as our civilization has been set to increase, and that's kind of ironic. Our civilization has been set to be improving. However, our level and quality of communication is reducing. I thought it was going to be the other way around, but that's what you have. You can't eat your cake and have it. Okay, there's been a depression in our communication quality and basically our communication reality, and I'm going to tell you how these things have regressed, over times and civilizations, as you call it. The highest form of communication, which is spiritual, like we mentioned, is intuition and revelation. Okay, however, I would stick with intuition now because revelation has a lot of other things involved with it. Okay, so from intuition was the highest level of communication of the then world. People could communicate without necessarily making sounds or opening their mouths or saying things. They connected at the higher level. Okay, but as things began to happen, it became from intuition, it became emotional. Okay, so the way you cry, the way you make sounds, and all of that, it's still more of the quality of the sounds. That's what talks more about what you're trying to communicate. So from emotion, it went to sound, where it was basically about sounds, and from sound, the alphabets were invented to capture sounds. And when the alphabet were invented, it went into words, making words with those letters. Okay, and from words, it went to making sentences. Okay, so the hacks came into being where sentences ruled the day. Okay, so sentences now needed to be constructed in certain ways that would achieve certain things in psychology, in persuasion, and hypnosis. Okay, communication has also become very difficult in our time because of certain sentiments that we have. Okay, certain filters that we have, certain means of monopolizing communication. That's where a lot of hypnosis are involved. And programmings, okay, the main people who want to be in charge of communication, who, in the sense that they want to be the sole power of perception of a certain form of reality. Okay, and this is where hypnosis and persuasion and psychology comes into place. Okay, so for the benefit of today's session, I will be mentioning certain red flags. Okay, these are things you would expect when your firewall is being breached. Okay, where there are communication hacks involved. Okay, so I'm going to be mentioning 3 for the benefit of this session because I don't want the session to be so long. Okay, and the first red flag you need to know and to be aware of is emotional triggers. Okay, and what are emotional triggers? Okay, now self-awareness is very important in all of this. If you're not self-aware, you can't know if you're being hacked. Okay, so self-aware. I talked about self-awareness in my previous audio sessions, so you can find that and make do with it. Okay, so emotional triggers. Now, how do you understand, or how do emotional triggers come into being? Now, when you have feelings that are associated with certain actions, okay, that's when emotional triggers come. That means you feel a certain way, so you have to do certain things. Okay, now that's emotional triggers. But the thing you need to understand is the real order of things is not feelings associated with actions, but rather feelings associated with being. Okay, but because of emotional triggers that we have in our days and time, words, hacks, and all of that truncate that part of being, and they just make you do things without necessarily being. And the process is you have to be first before you can do. But now in our civilization and time, you have a lot of people who are doing things without being things, and that's one of the problems we are having in the society. So the first is emotional triggers, and that's just one of the red flags. The moment you see yourself doing things as a result of how you feel, then you know that you have been hacked, whether you know it or not. Okay, so those are red flags. The second thing is spontaneity. Okay, when this is very important. Okay, this is when hypnosis is at work in psychology, really. When you notice that you begin to do things you haven't planned. Okay, things you've not thought of, things you've not pre-planned. It just comes to you. Well, that's what you think. You think it's spontaneous. Meanwhile, it's actually embedded commands of psychology, persuasion, and overall hypnosis. So you also need to be aware of yourself. The moment you start doing things, you start saying things you didn't plan, you start doing things you didn't plan, you start making purchases, all right? Yeah, purchases you didn't plan, you start spending money you didn't plan for, brother, you've been hacked. Okay, so those are red flags. The moment you start noticing those things, then you know that there's something wrong somewhere, and the best thing to do is to stop everything you're doing at that moment and try to retrace your steps. Okay, I'm gonna share, I'm not sure if it's in this podcast, but I'm going to share how you can retrace your steps from hacks, and how to more safeguard your mind from hacks. The third one, which is what I'll be ending with today, is inspirational triggers. Okay, we have emotional triggers, we've mentioned spontaneity, and now I'm mentioning inspiration triggers. These are the most subtle of them. Okay, and this comes by hypnosis, really, and advanced psychology. Okay, it comes through sounds and pictures. What does that mean? Now, when sounds begin to inspire you to do certain things, okay, it also works with spontaneity too. Or when pictures begin to inspire you to do certain things, it may be that you have been hacked. Okay, now it's important for you to note how the algorithms of these things work. Okay, I'm going to be sharing it at the Global Intellectual Hub of Strategists, which is a group that I am a member of. Okay, if you really want to get to know more about that, you can hop on the group. Now, it's important. Why? Because inspiration can be very dicey. You think you're being inspired by yourself, meanwhile sounds and pictures inspire you. Well, how do you know this happens? Many times, the moment you watch something, it inspires you. Or the moment you hear a sound, that means, or you listen to someone speak, or you listen to a sound. That's why some people just prefer to go to the beach, and whatever it is. Now, the moment these things happen, now you need to understand this may not necessarily be bad. Okay, however, hack is a hack, whether it's ethical hacking or with good intentions, or it's maleficent. Okay, so these are the three red flags I want you to be mindful of. All right, so before I end the session, I would need to get feedbacks from you, so that depending on the red flags that you've observed, so you can comment below, or you can chat me up, and I could help you, how to better protect yourself. All right, for those who want to get to know more about me, or get to talk with me, you can just Google my name, Harkheindzel. It's Harkheindzel. It's Harkheindzel. Okay, and you can chat me up at harkheindzelkenny@gmail.com, or on my Facebook or social media platforms, and I can see how I can be of help, and of benefit to you, because you really need to protect yourself against hacks, just the same way computational hacks work. Your mind, yourself should be protected against hacks, and I could help you with a few tips, to make you better protect yourself. Okay, so I guess this is where I'm going to be ending today's session, and I mentor with Harkheindzel Kenny Omiyale, and to the next time I'm going to hear from you, or to the next time you're going to hear from me, I'd always say this: you have just one life to live, so why not live it the best possible version of yourself? And you can do that by being intentional, by being strategic about life, about love, and about living. All right, I'm going to be signing out from here right now, and the next time you're going to hear from me, it's have a wonderful day. Enjoy.